Hi, I'm Jason W. Freeman. Welcome to our Godly Awesome podcast. I'm a speaker with a very unique voice and way of engaging my audience, whether virtually or live. Right now, I'm focused on speaking to junior high and high school students and helping them find direction during these very distracting times we live in. To find out more, please go to jasonwfreeman.com. Today, I'm so excited to have a guest who's brilliant, who not only talks about healing in writing, but lives it herself every day and helps others live it too. So without further ado,
Today's guest, Junie Swadron.
let me tell you about Junie. Junie Swadron is an author, playwright, psychotherapist, international speaker, workshop facilitator, and professional writing coach who has spent the last 30 years guiding thousands of students in writing and sharing their life stories. She sees the therapeutic process in the creative process as one. It is about accessing a special place within us where serenity, love, courage, and truth reside. It is from this place that we begin to know our true spirit. It is from this place we begin to heal. What makes Junie's approach to healing extraordinary is that she knows both sides of the couch. On her own healing journey, Junie found writing to be her greatest ally. She knows she has her success with her clients and students, helping them connect to the creativity and healing through the written word and other modalities. Junie resides in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, with her partner David Hollywell, an artist and musician. They are currently co-creating a musical called Today and looking forward to the ribbon cutting at the Academy of Creative and Healing Arts. Please help me welcome Junie.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, hi Junie.
Hi.
So glad to have you on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
We have so much to cover. I want to just hop right into it. Is that okay?
100%. Thank you.
What do you love about being a psychotherapist?
Oh, it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege. I just love that I can be there and be a beacon of light and hope for another person. And it's a true privilege. I think that's what I love the most because it's my calling. It's part of my calling, and I know that I've had that, and it's kept me on the planet. So we all need that. Whether it doesn't matter which role we're playing. We don't have to be a psychotherapist. We just need to be there to shine the light, our light, onto others. Don't you think?
What's it like shining the light for another person when all they see see as darkness at this particular moment in their life?
It's a great question. I think one of the things that people need more than anything is to be met where they are.
Mm.
It's one of
One of the things people need more than anything is to be met where they are. I just had to repeat that because it's so
You know
true.
what? I mean, you can't tell somebody who's feeling absolutely hopeless, oh, well, just turn on this fabulous tune and get up and dance. Come on, it's beautiful. What's the problem? No. No, when we meet someone where they are, we are fully present to where they are and to who they are in that moment so that we can have full empathy and caring and acknowledge that we see them where they are. And we tell them, I can tell a person, I'm so sorry you're feeling like this. I'm so sorry. What else do you want to tell me? I'm right here. Tell me what's going on for you. And when a person feels your sincerity, they will welcome an opportunity to tell you they're afraid, maybe why they're afraid, what's been going on. And then as you are available to that and hear that, and you're just being present to someone's vulnerability, their pain, their hopelessness, their fear, then you can breathe a little. That person gets to breathe a little easier because now they have someone who's acknowledging them, that's seeing them and hearing them. And at a certain point in that mirroring, you can start to inject some possibilities of what else is something that they might be able to try to just even now that could help them just a wee bit. That not to just bamboozle them with, it's not terrible. Look what so-and-so is able to do. No, it's about really hearing that person. I think that's one of the ways that I can do that.
So, when you said mirroring, it occurred to me the word mirror is kind of close to the word miracle.
It is. You know what? You're right. I never thought of mirror and miracle. Well,
Me neither. I'm thinking of a book I'll refer to later in the show, but which is why I thought of the two words together. But
well, you're a wordsmith. We know that with your magnificent book and what you do and why you do what you do. There's no question. So I love that because you're right. There is something miraculous that happens when we fully mirror one another, when we posit ourselves in front of another human being and we act as their mirror of possibilities. When we can go beyond our own self and all the maybe negative thoughts and all of that, when we're with somebody and we're fully with them and we can just see the spirit of who they are and mirror that to them. It's like a song David and I just wrote about mental health. You are not your diagnosis. You're not your prognosis. It's a brand new day. And so when we can help people to just see that they're human, they're scared. Who isn't scared right now, Jason? We're living in really bizarre times. The whole planet is in a place where we've never been before. Never. And so it's hard enough when somebody is on their own trying to figure it out what to do, but when a whole world and the energy of that world is wondering what's going on, when all of what we used to know as good for bad or whatever, normal, what we knew as what is what we could expect, is that's all been taken away, and it's been gone now for close to 2 years through this COVID pandemic. People are, there's just we could just go forever. I could talk forever on that subject alone, but that raises so many questions of, where do I go from here? What do I do now? And we've watched people be incredibly resilient during this time. And you have to reinvent yourself, because what you used to do no longer works. Amazing. We can. Humans are so resilient. And the other reality is people are getting sick and dying. And then not everybody's in a place where they feel all that resilient or positive or have the resources or the support. So
let's send good energy out to all the people who are suffering right now.
Oh gosh, yes. Thank you for that, Jason.
When you say in your bio that you know both sides of the couch, which is a fascinating phrase, what do you mean?
I mean that I'm a psychotherapist, and I've been a psychotherapist for 30 years. And I'm also...
Congratulations on your service. That's a long time.
It is.
To be in the field, so.
It is a long time, and it's truly my path. And I've also, for most of my life, had my own mental health challenges. And when I was 20 years old, I was diagnosed with a mental illness called manic depressive illness, now known as bipolar. And so I certainly know what it means to be someone with a lived experience, and all of the trials and tribulations that come with that, the many, many challenges. I also know how to get up more often than I've fallen. And that takes a lot of courage and a lot of will and a lot of faith. And I've done it enough times to now just, I feel incredibly healthy and resilient, and know that I can go down that rabbit hole with anybody. I can go as far down as anybody wants to go, because I've gone to the place where I haven't wanted to be on the planet, and have made plans to not stay on the planet. And for the grace of God, I'm on it, and I'm here for a purpose and to live my love. Thank you so much. Ooh, that was a Freudian. I was about to say life, and I said, I'm here to live my love. So I like that.
So you have a gift for your clients of not only an intellectual understanding of where they are, but you have a profound empathy for what they are going through.
I do.
I
do, and that happened long before I became a therapist. When I was even a teenager, people used to tell me things that they said they've never told another living soul.
When you were even a teenager?
Yeah, well, I don't know why they want to tell me. I was truly not, exactly the healthiest person on the planet. But they trusted me, and after a while, I started thinking, why would they tell me? And then I stopped asking that question. They told me because they knew they could trust me, and that I truly cared. And that's just my nature.
They knew you would take them where they were, and like you were saying before, that you would meet them where they were, and I bet they were craving to be met and understood in that place.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Don't you think, Jason, that's probably the number one thing people want, is just to be, have reflected back to them who they are, but to be seen and heard and acknowledged and unconditionally loved or cared for, that nobody's there to judge you, just being present with another human being Even if you don't know what to say nothing, but just be present.
Angela Flipson says validation and
Validation. Yes, Angela. Thank you. Yeah.
I have to read this next one because I know it now. But I'm so excited about this question. How are the therapeutic process and the creative process one?
Oh, beautiful question.
From a beautiful bio.
Thank you. We're spiritual beings, and we're here in an incarnation in our bodies here. We're going through this human time on earth, but we are really spiritual beings, and we're all part of the one source. And as humans, we have an impulse to create. We all are, we need to create, not just to procreate, but to create. We have an impulse to, whether it's to grow a garden, whether it's to put paint to a palette. And I'm pointing to David.
Like your beloved.
Yeah, that beautiful painting of David's. Whether it's to be an artist or a musician or somebody that loves numbers. It doesn't matter, but we have this impulse that's just ours. It's just ours. Everyone does. And so when we are, and what makes that the creative process and the spiritual process one, are an innate need to create. When we are doing our art, whatever that is, it brings us into the present moment, right here now. And time just floats away somewhere else. It becomes irrelevant. We're just, we're scribbling in our coloring book. It doesn't matter. We're doing something that makes us feel good. And that creative expression is just fills us up. And that's how we have to do that. When we're not creating, when that creative part of us, that spark, dies because of life and events, and it just gets covered over, and we're not connected to that part of us, part of our spirit dies.
Beautiful. Do you happen to have a copy of your great story in this piece?
You mean the coloring book, the true story? Which one?
No, the one you just wrote for the compilation.
I'm sorry, Jason. I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
The compilation of essays that just came out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
I so meant to remind you, and I so absolutely.
Well, you know what? I could probably pull it up really quickly if that's okay.
That's my bad. I absolutely forgot.
And I forgot to. So it's called In This Piece. Let me see if I can find it, because if it's here, I can just find it. It will be here.
William Flipson, you got it?
Yes.
Cool. So first of all, William Flipson says, "Love trying to connect to my creative side." So good, Ryan.
Wow, fantastic.
So good. And I want you to read this piece from this new compilation, because it shows so well how creativity can help us heal our own angst and distraughtedness. And
so, right. Okay, I can do that. And the compilation is the book called the Silver Sisters. Sorry, oh my gosh. This is live, isn't it? Okay, well, this is live me being awkwardly awkward, imperfectly.
It is awkward for me because I should know the title of the compilation.
Yeah, well, you think I should too, because I was part of 45 people who wrote this beautiful book. It's called The Wisdom of
If
the
you
Silver
read it,
Sisters.
I'll find the title.
It's called The Wisdom of the Silver Sisters.
Cool. The
Yeah,
Wisdom of the Silver Sisters. And
yeah.
where can people find it?
On Amazon, it just was released last week, and it was #1. It went to #1, which
Yeah,
is
that's
so.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, I will read it. This was it's called In This Piece, and I will read the beginning of it because this is how it. I'm going to read the beginning before the poem because it leads up to why creativity and how creativity can actually feed your soul, even in resistance. Or I can just share a bit about what led up to the poem. What would be your preference?
How about just reading the beginning because it's so fascinating.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so it's called In This Piece. Recently, my partner David was concerned about me. I was unable to started having lost my in-person book coaching business. I had to dance and therapy business. I had to dance as fast as I could to find a way to get my book coaching business online and then find people to register. Two things I find the most frustrating in my work: tech and marketing. With the help of dedicated people, I managed both. The week before my author mentorship program was to begin, with 18 people registered, I chose to take a much needed holiday to a 26-acre retreat, cradled by 2 lakes with forest trails throughout. It would require taking a ferry from Victoria to Vancouver, then driving about 2 hours, and then hopping on another ferry at Horseshoe Bay to Bowen Island, a tiny remote island off the coast of Vancouver Island. David drove me there, but had to return home the next day. That night, nestled in our cabin in the woods, I woke at 4:50 a.m. in absolute turmoil, wanting the world to go away. I needed more than 4 days. I needed to get off the treadmill for at least a month. I knew it was impossible. I had to show up and facilitate my new online program. I couldn't sleep, so went over to my computer to check some details of the course and woke David up in the process. Quietly, but still frustrated, I returned to bed. David sat up and stated, "Junie, if you don't take advantage of this time here and breathe in the peace of this land, I'll take your computer and your cell phone." I told him I'd hide his car keys. He stayed silent and then offered me what he knows would be the sure fix that would transform my anxiety and funk. He reached over, handed me my journal, and said, "Here, Junie, now write." I didn't want to. I wanted to whine. Belligerently, I got out of bed, went over to the small desk, put on the desk lamp, lit a candle, and wrote from the prompt that he offered me. The prompt was, "In this piece I shall, ... And as always, so grateful I did. How else will I ever know the truth? I cannot. It's writing that brings me home to myself without fail each and every time." So this is what I wrote. In this piece, I shall find God. In this piece, I shall find me. In this piece, I will unravel. I will twist and turn and be shoved and shaken, and in this piece, I shall not resist. I will not hang onto rugged branches that jut out from the banks. I will not grasp onto their temporary refuge from raging rapids. No, I shall let the river take me to and fro, winding down and around its billowing, unpredictable force field. I surrender here fully. even though my heart is pumping faster than hurricane blood, coursing, exploding through this body's fragile temple, lungs infused with God's purest prana. And I know even throughout this unstoppable force, leading me to destinations unseen, unknown, and uncharted, never before have I felt this safe. In these rapids, I shall find peace that surpasses all understanding, and I shall rest here. Here I am, the eye of the storm, an impartial witness to waters gone mad, born of lost dreams and uncertainty. Yet I am still. I am peace. Did I really think my puny hands, no matter how tightly I clenched them, would save me? Such naivete. I am ready to see, feel, and know myself as the God I am. I am ready to drop the scales from my eyes and open them as a newborn baby does, seeing the world in its majestic splendor for the very first time. I am that baby, born anew, curious, joyful, unstoried, free. Yes, the raging rapids of my life could have bounced and broken me against a million boulders, smashed me into shards of glass, rendering me defeated, hopeless, dead even. Instead, the waters in all their compassionate glory opened their arms to this inner river's untamed fury, infusing the turmoil with gentle, rocking motion, a lullaby, quieting the unrelenting noise, the torture chamber of the mind, shape-shifting me from high alert into unsuspecting emptiness and grace. Pure exhaustion finally surrendered itself, its last grasp of holding on, only to arrive naked upon pristine beaches, Mother Earth's welcoming breast seducing me into deep, peaceful slumber, washing clean all that went before. And when I woke, it was as though 1,000 nights had passed, rested, restored, rendered brand new, we're bearing witness to heaven on earth. Here I vowed to walk with the angels and saints who carried me here. I vowed to remain humble in this glorious land of Eden. Here I now taste the palate of milk and honey, ready to savor its gifts in sustainable ways. And I shall walk among others who have survived bruises too horrific to name. They too had raging river rapids now transformed into calm blue seas. And it's here that we meet and recognize one another, our tribe. And it's our mission to walk together to shine our gratitude, our love, and our light. We walk fearlessly, hand in hand, into storms, calming the seas of disquiet for all those ready to walk among us and know the promise and the peace of God that beats our collective hearts as one. In this peace, we walk together, co-creating with our Maker. In this peace, we find truth. In this peace, we are one. In this peace, we are love. In this peace, we are home.
Oh, it's such a thrill to hear you read that. It's such a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
So beautiful. And the question that comes to mind is how does creativity do that? Like you were ready to throw in the towel kind of on your plans for the next month in the middle of the night, but then your David knew to give you a writing prompt, and that totally changed your energy.
It did, because
How does that work? I mean, what's going on?
I think the very first thing that that needs to happen is a willingness. That's in everything. You know, if I would have said no, I'm not doing it. Forget it. I'm never doing that. Take away my thing. I don't care. And if I would just be absolutely dug in to not receive the gift I was being offered, nothing would have changed. Nothing. However, I really feel that once we can say yes, even with all the resistance in the world, but at least we're open to it. Fine. I just grabbed that thing and I just said, fine. I was really angry with him. Fine. And because I know that there's a deeper truth, that when I write, I find my way. For someone else, it could be anything else. We all have our own. And I think that that's where spirit infuses our souls in those moments. And we all can feel the truth of that in our own way. I think that anybody listening to this can ask themselves, when have there been times in your life, when have there been times when that the clock stood still because you were doing something you loved? I don't care if it was walking, dancing, growing your garden, painting, playing music, or doing squiggles, just, which is like a scribble on the page, but it makes you feel good, or opening a coloring book and drawing. It doesn't matter. There's so many art forms. God, if I just really believe that's, you say, how does it work? I don't know for sure. How do I know? I don't. I just really do believe that when we're willing to receive the gift and take up that pen again, for me it's the pen, then it will bring me home to myself. I'll find my way that way. And I know that because it's been doing that since I was a little kid, when I first got a diary when I was age 11. It became my safe place.
So writing is like your compass, literally your compass. It shows you your north, huh?
It totally is, Jason. It has been for my whole life. I mean, I had no idea when I was a little kid and somebody gave me a diary for my 11th birthday that would lead me one day into a profession and into a dharma, my course in life, to write and to help others find the extraordinary gifts that writing can bring to them.
Do you remember who gave you the diary?
I do remember. That's a sweet question. Nobody's ever asked me that. His name was Mickey, and he was a friend of my older sister Barbara, and he gave that to me. And it also came with an autograph book.
Well, why do you think he was moved to give you a diary?
Wow, what a beautiful question. I think he saw me. I think he saw me, and maybe writing was something for him too. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think he saw me as a very unhappy girl, little girl. And I think that he felt that there would be some treasure. This would be a deep, beautiful treasure that I would, in fact, use.
Well, I mean, that story gives me goosebumps because we truly don't know the impact we have on other people. By that action, this friend of your sister's transformed your life.
100%.
Holy
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, Mickey, wherever you are. Wow. I think he's here right now. Got goosebumps.
You keep talking about coloring books. I so wish we had a coloring book as an example. We do.
We do. You're so funny. Jazzy's Miracle Mission.
So tell me a little bit about about how you and David created this book. Am I holding it?
Okay, yeah, it's great. You can
Can
turn
people
around
see
the,
it?
yeah, it's great. You can show the back cover too, because there's David and I printing that we're the day after Jazzy, our budgie bird, miraculously was found. We started writing the coloring book on a napkin in a cafe. I mean, our budgie flew away in inclement weather, and 5 days.
5 days.
5 days gone. And 5 days later, and we had posters all over the city, and I taped my other budgie, our budgie Jolly, his voice singing to her, and had our Bose speaker out in the yard, hoping maybe she'd hear it. But in any case, she was returned 5 days later, and it was a beautiful story. It's, again, another miracle story. We called it a miracle mission because the person who found her was in a children's park, and it was a water park, and it was, and that particular day, thank goodness, it was a hot day, and Jazzy flew way miles and miles and miles over the ocean to get to this particular place. Like, excuse me, how is that possible? Inclement weather, a little bird, so many predators you wouldn't believe. We've got eagles, we've got hawks, we've got everything here, and cats. We've got right, but so this little mommy, there's a little green budgie on the ground, and sure enough, we located them, and the woman Sarah who found, and whose children found the budgie, wanted to write, and I brought her. I didn't have any money on me. I just grabbed some books of mine to say thank you. Do you like to write? She says, I love to write. And then she told me why she loved to write, and she needed to write. She said she needed to write because her brother had just passed away, and she just got terrible news about her mother who had terminal cancer. And she's got one baby under her arm and two little kids on, playing in the playground. And she said, I need to write. And the next day she phoned me, and I just said, listen, I'm a therapist. You just call me, anything you need. I'm here for you, Sarah. And she said, I just read your book right where you are. And the person that wrote the foreword is my best friend's mom. And then it turns out that best friend's mom, Austri Wright, gifted her some sessions for my writing, my Zoom writing courses, my Sunday writing circles. And she said, I didn't find Jazzy. Jazzy found me. And since then, I've become good friends with her, and her mom had passed away by that time. It was only a month later. And since then, something else had happened, really tragic. And thank goodness we found each other.
Wow. I have to ask, how do you tell everyone, how did Sarah know to contact you?
Yes, there is a place here called ROAM, ROAM, returning owners, with their, I don't know, I can't remember what the acronym is, but anyway, most people know it, and they provide posters. And so you see posters all over the city from ROAM for cats, for dogs, for birds, for whatever. And so she happened to know of them, or she may have, I think she did know of them, but sometimes, like me, I didn't know of them. When I just called, when he was gone, I called the Humane Society. Does anybody call ROAM? Right? And so that's how we have this wonderful volunteer organization that does that here.
What would you say to someone who's kind of desperate for a miracle in their life, but doesn't really fully believe in that they will get a miracle?
I would Was the first part of your question for somebody that doesn't fully believe that they believe what? I sort of missed.
So I'm sorry, what would you say to someone who is desperate for a positive change in their life, but doesn't fully believe that miracles are coming their way?
Right. Yeah. And that's a really legitimate, awesome question, Jason, because most people, if they're in a state, of despair, sometimes hope is the last thing that they feel. That long way from a miracle. I think it's number one, if somebody is in fact really seriously in trouble, for instance, that they're trying to take, they're considering taking their life, that they reach out, they tell somebody, they call the Suicide Prevention Society, they call the helpline, wherever that is. They reach out to just one person even. And because I've been there, I think a person who is in that dark, dark, dark place, often they just want to get out because they don't think it's possible that there's ever going to be hope. But if you can breathe through this day, just this day, and reach out, allow yourself that. Just reach out to someone. You're not alone. We're not alone. Somebody will reach back, and you won't be alone in that. Sometimes people are crippled by the fact that they think that they are, and I use that word, maybe it's the inappropriate word to use, but I want to say that they just feel they don't know how to not feel that they're not even a burden to others. That the person they used to be, they're not, and they don't know how to get that person back anymore. And so their own thoughts are going to be their worst enemy. And that's usually what happens. So I would say just reach out, be open to the possibility that there is. Given we don't know whether there will be or there won't be a miracle down the road or help, what would you rather believe? Would you rather feel that there could be? Open to that. Let somebody in.
So it sounds like, as you say it, that we participate in our own miracles in a way, like we reaching out to help allows a miracle to occur, but that requires a participation.
It does require our participation. And there may be there are often people in a person's life already that we're just going, no, we're saying no to. And maybe to rethink that and say yes to, because it's the hardest thing in the world for people who are feeling helpless to help the person they love, to help a friend, to help a child, to help a parent, whoever it is. It's a very hard place to be when the person that we care about the most isn't showing any willingness to receive anything. And we may not know, but if you're a helper, if you love somebody who is in a terrible state right now, reach out yourself and find out what is the best plan. You don't have to know, but there's tons of resources out there. NAMI is one that I know for sure in the United States. We're in Canada, and you're in the States, and NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness. And it's in every state, right across the country as well, Canada, and right across the world is something called WRAP. And it's WRAP around the world. It's Wellness Recovery Action Plan. And there's a plan. There's even an app for WRAP. And there's, you can go on your phone and you can find these wonderful tools for all of these, for whatever it is, anxiety, depression, fear, loneliness, for veterans, for everybody.
When substances reach out for the miracle of help and hope. Be receptive to others reaching out. Reach out to others to help and give hope.
Absolutely, Ryan. Absolutely.
There's so much to talk about. What is a professional writing coach?
What is a professional writing coach?
Yeah. I'll say is as you are a professional writing coach. How do you help the people you serve?
Okay, well, it depends on what they want. I've been doing this, by the way. I've been a writer all my life because it started off in my little diary, as I said, and then it just became the way in which I could express myself. I hardly ever talked, but I became articulate on the page. So I help people find their voice on the page, whether they want to write a book or whether they just want to write a blog, or they just want to write so that they can help themselves through the next day and the next hour. And so it's a way in which I particularly teach, and I've been doing this the same year I put up a shingle as a psychotherapist is the same year I started writing circles and becoming a writing coach, because I know that writing is a beautiful tool for creativity and catharsis and for healing. And so for me, I help people. One of my books called Right Where You Are. It is a book that, do you have that one too? Oh, cool. It's a book to help, it's called For Those Who Dream of Writing and Don't Know Where to Begin. And I actually have it here. It's, the other side. It's that one. And it really has many, many different ideas of how to make it easy for people to write. Because if and when you're writing, for instance, the first draft is always for you. And it's like, let go of spelling, punctuation, grammar, syntax, throw all that stuff away. Everything you learned in school, just get rid of it.
But the monkey mind loves to cling to.
I know.
It has to be correct.
I know. It's not easy to let go of anything, but in order to write, when you do, if you can make a deal with yourself, with your monkey mind, you can say, you know what, you are going to have your day in heaven and really soon, because I'm going to write this piece. If you just let me write it, then you can come in and look at it after. Okay. But right now I just want to write it. And we have to allow that creative part of ourselves, no matter whether it's painting or writing or I don't care what, the freedom to express. And when you let writing do the writing, it just comes out of you in a way that that is the truth.
When you let writing do the writing, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you just get out of the way. You step out of the way. You're not your ego. You don't need to, oh, did I spell this right? Well, what if I said it wrong? What if somebody reads it? Well, I'll be mortified. All of those things. You just have to find enough courage within yourself. Nobody's going to read it. If it's in your journal, hide it. Put it somewhere where no one's going to find it. You don't want to leave it on the coffee table and then go, oops. Because the beauty of a journal is you can write, right? You can write out everything you're feeling, and you're really angry at that person and you're getting it all out on the page. But now you're feeling great because you've gotten it all out. You've got to even see your part in the whole drama. Now you're at a totally new place. But if you come home and that person happens to have read your journal and they're ready to beat you over the head with a frying pan, well, you've just let it go by now. You're in trouble. Don't leave it. It's like anything else that's private, keep it private.
It'll be a good title of a book. Don't leave your private journal on a table at Starbucks.
Right. With your name in it.
With her name in it.
And your phone number. Right. I love it. That's so funny, Jason.
In your book, Your Life Matters, you write, I want you to stay open and positive with the inquisitiveness of a child. How do we begin to do that when there's so much going on as adults?
Well, it's a refocus. It's a reframe. It's to start having compassion for that kid you once were.
Start having compassion for that kid you once were.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like thinking of little Jason, thinking of the little boy. I mean, in your book, if I remember correctly, and your story, and I may have the dates wrong, or the ages wrong, but like the first, 5-6 years, you just felt life was absolutely magnificent. You had parents that just told you that you were the most extraordinary person in the whole wide world, and you believed it, and it's true that they were right, and they were right. But then you were sent to school, and you realized that you were different from others, and that made you start thinking about that maybe you weren't as everything their parents said you were. And so that's where we start getting some of our first messages. You were lucky, thank God. You have parents that adore you and love you and mirror back to you, the magnificence of who you are, and that you're capable of everything and anything. And look at you. I mean, you are one of my heroes, I tell you. That's for darn sure. But it didn't come without a lot of pain and anguish and everything else most of us go through on this earth plane. And you can't live on earth without having some challenges. There's people going to die. You're going to feel grief. People are going to go away. You're going to get older, whatever. But when we can look back at the parts, the people, for instance, who told us we're never going to be good enough. I had a teacher who used to, tell me almost every day in grade 6 I was stupid and I'm going to fail.
What the heck?
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Well, I believed it. I believed it most of my life. I mean, she insisted, she said, you're stupid. You're a disgrace. Get out of my way, get out of my classroom, whatever. It was a terrible thing. And I wasn't getting much better messages at home a lot of the time. So I had a terrible sense of self. So I have since definitely gone back and made peace with my past, but I had to first find a place inside of me that could look at that little girl in grade 6 who ended up being in grade 6 a second time because she did fail me. Where all my friends were going off to junior high school, I had to trudge back to grade 6 to the public school again. And so, when I think of that little girl and I think of her even younger, I think of her older, a teenager, it doesn't matter. And I see that how sad, how innocent she was, and how she just wanted to be loved, and how she tried so hard, would turn into a billion pretzels, whatever shape you want me to be, so you'll love me, I'll be that.
Turn into a billion pretzels. Wow.
Right. So many of us have tried that, to be the people pleaser, the disease to please, I think Oprah calls it. And so we will do that. So how do you have the curiosity and innocence of a child? By remembering to love that child's self, because she's still in there, or he's still in there inside. And if you can't do it with yourself, do you have a niece, a nephew, a child, a little child in your life that you you kidding me? If you see a little kid crying, are you going to go over and say, well, come on, grow up, No, you're going to go down on your knees and get to the level of the child, and you can put your arms around him and just say, what's wrong, sweetheart? Talk to me. I'm right here. Don't be afraid. Let's talk this out together. You're not going to punish it, but that kid was punished by somebody or something. And so when we can be that for ourselves and give ourselves more love, not less, and love the parts of us that haven't been loved, and grow ourselves up so that child inside of us can start to feel safe again to come out and speak and play. Then we start to become that innocence. I was talking to a client yesterday, Monday. What day is it? Yeah, on Monday. And she said, I love this. We're actually doing The Artist's Way together. I used to facilitate that book, a support group for the book. And it's a phenomenal book for anybody who's looking to find out how to get creative again. It's The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's been around forever, right? And it stood the test of time because it deals with deep core issues as to why we're stuck. So here's this client of mine, and she is starting off with The Artist's Way. And she said, this morning, I just got into my car. I hadn't even changed really. I hadn't done my hair, my makeup, nothing. I just wanted to go through a drive-in coffee place to grab my coffee and come home. But I bumped into, on my way, she said, I noticed a tree, and I noticed that at the bottom of the tree, there was a lot of people, I don't know if they do them there, but here in BC, they are some residential streets. They have little fairy houses on the trees, and they have little fairies and gnomes and things like that. She said, I had to stop and get out, and I took pictures, and it was so great. And she said, then I traveled a little bit more on some other streets just to see, because I kind of remembered there might have been something. She said, I turned it into an artist's date. And then she bumped into somebody that somebody she used to date. And she's looking like she just got out of bed, because she did. And he said, what are you doing? And she told him what she did, and she could feel that she was being judged. And for a minute, she started to judge herself. And then she thought, heck with that, man. I just had the best time of my life. Nobody's putting me down. And it was just that. She found some spaciousness to just stop. Instead of making a beeline to get to the coffee, she stopped. She looked around. Look at that. Wow, somebody's making fairies in front of their house and the trees. And it's that easy.
Wow. Beautiful. Amazing. Love that story. So, 2 more questions. What does awkwardly awesome mean? What does it mean to you to be and do your awkwardly awesomeness?
Well, it's kind of like what I acknowledged in that piece. I sometimes forget that I'm human and I feel overwhelmed by so much. And I forget that I can't hold the world. I sang that song at my brother's bar mitzvah. He's got the whole world in his hands. And I forget that I can't do that all the time. I need to slow down sometimes. No one can. And so that's where my awkwardly awesome part is acknowledging that I do need time out, and I do, and I'm way better about it. And especially with someone like David, who threatens to take my computer and phone away. But that part of me that sometimes just wants to somehow wave a magic wand and make it better for everybody, and I sometimes. And I know I can't, and I'm not, and I'm certainly not Mother Teresa by the far stretch of the imagination. But that awkward part of having to say no is that's the awesome part for me, when I actually listen to what my body needs and then have a loving backbone is what I call it. Is being able to say, have my boundaries and say, I'm sorry, I can't do that today, or I wish I could, or I can't take on another client right now, or whatever it happens to be, that this is my day or my week. or whatever it is. So I think that's the most for me when I'm the most awkwardly awesome is just giving myself permission to rest, receive, play with my little kid. I do it all the time, actually.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And do people, is that way, is this how people contact you?
Yes, that's perfect. JunieSwadron.com. It is the way.
And I encourage people listening, if what Junie is saying resonates with you, if you realize, hey, I have this wonderful story within me, and it's getting stuck in my throat, or not literally, but metaphorically, I encourage you to reach out to Junie because she has so much experience. She has so many tools. She has so many books, and besides, she's just a magnificent person.
Oh, thank you so much, Jason. This has been such a joy. Thank you. I love the questions you ask. We've asked so many questions nobody's ever asked, and it just I feel seen and heard and so acknowledged by you. Yeah, you're a kindred spirit. We are kindred spirits.
We are kindred spirits. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I get to do this every week. I hope you are getting so much out of it too. Wasn't Junie phenomenal? Yeah. I don't need to rehab summarize all the brilliance that she gave in the last hour because you heard it. But thanks for tuning in, and tune in next week for another awkwardly awesome podcast. It's the first time I said it like that. Awkwardly awesome. Oh, that's kind of fun. Awkwardly awesome. I don't know. Getting my opera thing on. Okay, bye for now.